we go.
Hello, listeners. My name is Charles Scott Sr. Here we are. The program is called Can We Talk? We're here to talk about real estate matters. I'm here with my son, Charles Scott Jr.
Yes, how you guys doing today? How you doing, my viewers? We're here with Can We Talk Real Estate, another episode. And like I said, if you missed last week's episode, go on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. We have clips up there. But feel free. And like I said, see that number right there? If you need to talk to us about anything after the show, give us a call.
Sure. That's the telephone number there. Also, you can call and it'll flip to our cell phone. So we pick up the phone, as my son said.
Yeah, I see that more and more because more and more places I call, I'm talking to an AI agent or recording. We pick the phone up.
Any information that you may have basically concerning real estate, even if we can't answer you, we can steer you in the right direction. There's a lot of things that are happening right now with real estate as far as the interest rates, as housing. Housing is where the basics of everything starts. As you can see, many people are talking about the Federal Reserve, the interest rates, the affordability, housing, and inflation, the cost of living. And housing is I think the housing is about the biggest component in a person's budget. In some cases, they say a person's budget, as far as rental, can go anywhere from 50% to 60, 70% of what they make.
Exactly.
That's huge.
That's really big. And also, like you were saying, there's all this stuff in the news. People are saying, oh, inventory is low, which is true. Interest rates are high. I'll admit, yes, true. But I'll tell you the real story. I was in the field this weekend. I showed a lot of houses this weekend. Please. Saturday and Sunday. I went to 2 open houses. And guess what I saw? People. A lot of people. People were out looking for houses. So I say the headlines may say one thing, but what do people want? Somewhere to live. And I'll say, if they really want to find somewhere to live, they're not going to let interest rates stop them or the inventory stop them. I'm going to be out looking every weekend looking for that house. And that's where I was at. I was in the field seeing a lot of houses. Up and down the valley, too.
Well, what's pushing the demand for housing is the rental market.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, what alternative do you have? If you do not purchase a home, it's not like you can fall back to the days of where the rents were $900 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So what's pushing housing is the rental market. A lot of people are out there because, in some cases, to buy a house is less money than what you're paying for rent. It was okay when a lot of people were comfortable paying the low rents. But what we have fueling the desire to purchase a home is how much money people are paying for rents, and that's crazy. So if you're in a position right now where even your rent has not gone up, it's a matter of time, because what we have is a lot of investors, a lot of people coming in, a lot of people refinancing their homes, so their new mortgages have doubled, tripled.
Yes.
They can't afford to charge the old rents. So if they charge more, and in some cases, we have a lot of landlords, you think the landlord would be making a killing, making a lot of money. That's not necessarily true, because the taxes have gone up.
Yes.
Insurance is going up. The water bill is going up. The sewer is going up. Just the repairs on a house have gone up. If the person needs a new roof or new plumbing or new electrical. So the landlord, you would think, would be making a lot of money, but that's not necessarily the case, because the landlord is paying out all of this money. So now the landlord goes up on the rent.
And I was going to say to that, people call us every day, they say, I have a good landlord. I've been here for 10, 15 years. My rent's this. It's going to stay this. And I say, yeah, we'll stay that until your landlord decides to sell, like what he's talking about. When a new landlord comes in, new landlord is going to try to make the property cash flow. In order to cash flow, he needs to increase the rents to match above what he's paying for his mortgage. Your current landlord has been there since probably the house was built. He might have inherited it from his parents. He could charge you $0 and be okay with this. But remember, the new landlord has got a high mortgage, new taxes have been reassessed, insurance prices have gone up, so they have to pass the cost somewhat on to you, increasing your rent. So I will say, although you may have a good landlord now, nothing is forever in that situation.
So one of the things you want to do right now is to get prepared, if you can, in order to purchase a home. I always tell everybody, you may not be ready right now, but at least you've got to get out there and find out what you need to do to get ready to buy that house. There's not a lot of new construction going on. You don't see new homes being built, and when new homes are being built, they're selling for high prices. And the reason for that being, number one, it costs a lot of money to buy land. I remember when lots were selling for $5,000 and $10,000.
Oh yeah, I will say Bridgeport, $100,000, the bare minimum.
100,000 minimum
for a lot. If you find a lot somewhere, it's like gold. That dirt's worth more than gold.
And like I said, I can remember when those lots were selling for $5,000 and $10,000. Now people call me and say, "Do you have any houses rehab for $100,000?" I say, "Well, the land costs more than that. Just the dirt alone costs more than $100,000." So if you find the dirt and then you got to build, and if you got to buy the lumber, the cost of lumber has skyrocketed.
Yes.
Then you got to get somebody to build it. The labor costs have increased greatly. And here's the other catch. Whenever you have taxes on a property, the taxes are based on the value of the house.
Yes.
So if you've got a house, say a 3-family or 1-family that's 80 years old, 70 years old, so the taxes are lower. What happens when you build a brand new house? It's like the taxes are way up there because it's new construction. The newer the house, the more taxes you pay. And I can put it out there where people can probably grasp. If you have an old car, and that car is, let's say, 10, 15 years old, you pay taxes to the city. Maybe your taxes are only a couple of $100 a year. So now you say, "Oh, I want a new car." You trade the new car in, you go get a 2026 model. Yes. Now all of a sudden your taxes are $2,000 a year because it's a newer car. And the other car you pay $200 a year in taxes. The new car, maybe even more, $3,600. So you are now paying a lot more money. Same thing when you build a house. If you've got a house and it's just a lot, and you build a brand new house, they come out and they value it at a lot higher than the surrounding houses. So now your taxes on that house are a lot more.
But I'm sure my real estate agent and developer will let me know what the taxes are before I buy the house and close, right?
We will.
I would say that's not necessarily the case. Remember, sometimes you might buy the house. We've seen this happen. You buy it in December. Let's say the city's not going to do their reassessment April, May.
Right.
You may find out that your mortgage that was a certain amount is going to go up a lot more because now your house is going to reflect the actual tax bracket, I would say, the tax rolls in that city. And it's going to be a lot more than what the land was, a lot more.
Yeah, so mainly what we're telling you is that there's a lot of factors that goes into buying a house. A lot of factors that can change prior to you actually closing. That's why it's best that you deal with someone like us. How can we help you? What's the advantage of using us? Well, 40 years of experience. We keep abreast of what's happening within the market. We keep abreast of what's happening nationally, what's happening with the interest rates, what's happening with purchasing, what's happening. And real estate is all what they call local. Everything changes.
Very local.
You can't watch a YouTube commercial of something that happened in Maine or California, or have your cousin call you from North Carolina and tell you what they're doing down there. You can't even do that in the state of Connecticut from one city to the other.
Exactly.
Real estate changes. I had a person the other day, I was talking to this young lady, and she's from New York City. She was talking about how in Connecticut everything is so changing. It changes from state to state. I said state to state.
Changes from city to
city.
Changes
from city to city.
Actually, block to block in some of these cities. You would be surprised.
Exactly. I think there's 183 counties in Connecticut. That's 183 forms of government. Some people have selectmen, some have mayors, some have whatever. Everybody wants to have a chief in charge of their county. So you have a legislature up in Hartford made up of hundreds of senators and representatives representing all of their districts, and they all go up there to come up with a law for the whole state, but they all are representing their all individual cities and counties. So it's a situation where what happens in one county, that doesn't mean it's going to happen in the other county. If something happens in Waterbury and the mill rate is such and the taxes are such, that doesn't affect the taxes in Bridgeport or Hartford or Norwalk or Stamford or Easton, Reading, Bridgeport. Everything is all changes.
Every city is different, and you would think it's all cookie cutter, and it's different. For example, like I said last week with the permits, I may have a house where a permit was opened years ago, it was never closed. I know certain cities, you call them up, they can do the inspection the same day. They have nothing else to do. Certain cities, though, they hope the guy's in the office. You hope they have time. Hope they don't get mad at you on the phone while you're bringing this up to them. They'll get to it when they have it on their schedule. It could be 2-3 weeks. You need to close tomorrow. You have a rate lock. You have this, you have that. So it's good to have realtors who have experience with this. We talk to the city, we talk to the zoning department, we talk to
That's
people.
right. All of these things are relative. So if you're looking to purchase a home, one of the things that we can give you today, some of the best advice that we can give you is that do your homework. It's called do your due diligence. Find out what's ahead. Don't rely on what has happened in the past, because these things change. The laws change. The employees at the city hall change.
Yes.
You know, what one employee said 2 weeks ago, you go back, he retired. Now there's someone new there who interprets things differently.
Yes.
So it could be the same law, it could be the way that person interprets the law. So now you're finding that, well, the other person told me this. Well, that's not the way it's supposed to be. So you got to be aware of all the laws, all of the changes. In real estate, you have zoning, you have building, you have electrical inspectors, you have all kinds of plumbing inspectors, site inspectors. So all of these things have to be taken into consideration. And it's kind of hard to navigate all these things unless you use someone, a professional, to do it.
And honestly, that's why we come across, I'd say, a lot of houses. And you're out there, my homeowners, who you did some work to the house, but somehow you didn't make it down to City Hall, get that permit. You might have added an extra bathroom downstairs. You might have turned the garage into a room. But I would say in this market, I'm coming across those houses, and they're still getting top dollar. And we know how to market those houses. And we know how to get a mortgage, I would say a person accepted that. We know the mortgage is going to go through. Remember, if your house has these open permits, we have to go conventional, possibly cash sometimes. But it's possible to sell a house right now. I would say if you have some work out there, you didn't pull permits, give us a call.
And if you're looking to sell a house right now, now is a good time.
Very good time.
Now is a good time. You have, like I said, one of the biggest motivators, two big motivators. Number one, inventory. There's not a lot of houses on the market for sale. And two, rents. The rents are going up. So as the rents go up, that's good for the person selling the house because there's such a demand. And something I wasn't even thinking of last week, I showed a house down in, I think it was Seymour, Connecticut. And it was a house that had just come on the market, and when I drove down there, and there was a ton of people all trying to look at the house. It was the first day that the house was on the market. And, one of the things that the agent said to me is that, well, a lot of people are coming to see the house because they're trying to get their children set up for the next school season. And the people that I had, they were older, they had no children, and they wanted to put an offer in which was lower than the asking price. And, I ran that by the selling agent. She said, you got to be kidding, because there's so much demand on this house. The offers that I've been getting are even over the asking price. And she said, mainly it's because of the school season. These people are all coming with their children, and they want to get their children situated in the school before school is out to pick out their school system. And, I said to my couple, which is an older couple, I said, see, you're not factoring that into your price.
Exactly.
You're thinking, well, I want to buy this house, and children are the last thing that you're thinking about. But the other families, they're thinking, well, I have children, and and this house has a big backyard, so therefore, we will be willing to pay more for the yard. Older people, they want to pay less because to them that's more work. So what's good for one person may not be good for the next person.
I just want to talk to my sellers right now. You see out here right now, we have a very, very low inventory. I was looking at open houses on Saturday in the rain. There were a lot of people. So imagine if it was a nice sunny day. The inventory is very low now, which means we're able to sell houses, I would say, that would normally, I would say, need fixing up, like whether the furnace is broken or maybe another item may be broken. What's happening now is the inventory is so low that the buyers are taking the houses as is. You might have seen that on Zillow. When it says as is, that means the seller is selling it as is, or not fixing anything. And you wouldn't believe what the prices are going to. Give us a call. We'll give you a free CMA, tell you how much your house could be worth in this market. No pressure to sell, but just I recommend people to get a CMA at least twice a year. And how much is that CMA? It's free.
Free.
$0. Give us a call. We'll give a CMA for you.
And a CMA, that's a market analysis.
Yep, cost market analysis.
You don't have to pay anything for it.
Nope.
So you might want to give us a call. That way, you'd be surprised at what the property has increased in value.
Yes.
And then the value is based, like people say, what's the value? Value is also based upon what someone is willing to pay you for that house. Here's a good example that for the listening audience out there that you're probably not even taking into consideration of the value of a property. Let's say you have a family who lives in the city and they're sending their children to school and they're paying extra money to send their children to school, whether it's a charter school, private school, whatever it may be. They could be paying up to $1,000 a month just to send the child to a school. And they say, oh, I'm gonna buy a house, and I wanna buy a house where there's not a lot of students and a big teacher ratio and quality school. So therefore, I'm not going to have to pay all that money extra for the school system. And in the school system where I'm going to buy, the taxes are low.
Very true.
So therefore, I could save that money and just send the child to the regular school system. So they're saving $1,000. So that extra $1,000 that they're saving in school costs, they put towards the mortgage. So they're willing to pay more for the house, more for the mortgage, because they're saving money on the education, and that's one child. What if there's 2 or 3 children?
Exactly.
So their motivation is to pay more money for a house versus a person who's buying a house who has no children. So everybody's motivated by different factors.
And we see that in Bridgeport. There's a whole area. I mean, I ran into a couple last year during an open house where all they buy are properties around these colleges. They rent them out to the students, and that's their portfolio. They don't do full year rents. They do semester rents, and they rent the rooms out, and they have what the parents co-sign. And the thing is, if you're up against that, they will definitely overpay for the house because they're in there for the long run. They'll recoup that over time with the rents going up, especially student rents. You charge them premium.
So you see, there's like a lot of different things that you have to look at when it comes to real estate. What's happening right now in the marketplace. The marketplace right now is rapidly changing. Some of the things that are occurring, I never thought that I'd ever see the changes, and they're just getting started in many cases.
Just getting started.
Just getting started. In many cases, the cities are transforming. Look what happened, and if you're coming into Connecticut or you're not where Connecticut, look at what happened in Norwalk. How the city of Norwalk went from a lot of housing, inner city, to gated communities, high rises, financial districts.
Southern Norwalk, this is a whole new area of development.
Stanford, the same thing. Everything changed. Everything went crazy in Stanford. Then it moved down. Look at what's happening in Bridgeport. Bridgeport is, right on the shoreline. It's always been poised for nothing but greatness, and a lot of things are changing in the Bridgeport area with the apartments, with the housing. Move a little further down into Stratford. They have that Army engine plant, which is nothing but a lot of acreage, a lot of land to be developed. You get into New Haven on the shoreline.
I was going to go even further. I was going to go, have you guys ever go up that Route 8? You never know. Seymour.
Oh, wow.
Derby, Ansonia. There's some nice houses out there. They think it's the Derby, hear about the valley. Beautiful houses out there, on flat levels. It's not all hills. There's some great areas out there, and the value is just amazing. Imagine doing what the New Yorkers are doing. New Yorkers are keeping their jobs in New York and living in Bridgeport. And we have some of our clients living in Bridgeport and Norwalk and moving to Waterbury, Naugatuck, as far as out there. You would be surprised how far your dollar can go with your pre-approval. Give us a call.
One of the things, you got to be able to take advantage of the marketplace and take advantage of opportunities before they exist. You got to be seeing ahead. Here's one of the things. I'm going to give everybody out there a little bonus tip.
Bonus tip.
This is a little
write
bonus.
This one down.
This is some insight. In other words, we give you insight on this program. We tell you what some of the things that are going to happen that will affect everything. You just triggered it. Look at what's happening. People are gravitating towards the valley, which is Naugatuck, Seymour, Derby, Ansonia, Waterbury. And what influences real estate? Supply and demand. Now, I was reading this morning, they're starting to build all the new train stations from Waterbury all the way into Bridgeport, Route 8 corridor. They're remodeling, they're building new train stations, I think in Ansonia, Waterbury, Seymour. They're going to have walk-in train stations. They're widening the tracks.
What was that stat I heard? Waterbury has increased by 40% since COVID.
See that?
They've added 2 trains.
And now what they're doing is they're going to be having, before they had places where you used to have to stand outside in the rain, snow, sleet. Now they're building actual train stations inside. You can get automated ticket service, transfers, everything. So, and faster high-speed trains. What's that going to do now? That's going to bring all these people from Norwalk, Stamford, New York. They can get come into Bridgeport, then take the Route 8, head into the valley, all the train stations. First thing people do when they move in from New York and the areas like that into the valleys, they say to me, where's the nearest train station? Now they'll be able to do that hookup. And then also you have the city of Bridgeport where they're talking, they've just done it. They've increased the ferries.
I was going to mention that the ferries
have they've increased the amount of ferries going to Port Jefferson back and forth. They're going to increase. They're looking at that bullet train that'll go from Boston to New York City and to Connecticut. So what the bonus is, all of this transportation is going to bring people all into this area and accommodate people in this area to transfer from city to city, from state to state, and that's going to make the property values go up. So now's the time to buy. Now's the time to buy. Now's the time to sell. Both worlds.
This is a very unique time in real estate. No matter what side you're on,
you're going to win.
There's benefits on each side, and people ask me when's the right time to buy. I say, when you're ready, because what you don't want to do is go into this field unprepared and not have your pre-approval in order, or if you're using any programs, make sure you have letters from those programs. Time to own, HCF, there's a lot of programs out there. Give us a call. We can put you in the right direction. But you want to make sure you're prepared, because when you see how fast things can move, you know what? House comes on the market Thursday. By Saturday, if they have an open house that weekend, I can almost guarantee you by Monday, Tuesday, they're going to have what they call highest and best. Your offer has to be in there. If not, they're moving on. And people say, that's pretty fast. I don't got time. Can I come back Tuesday, bring my grandmother to see the house, my uncle to see the house? That's what we tell you. Work with us. Make sure you let us know. Everybody's coming with us. We have to see that house, and we have to move that, I would say, fast.
Matter of fact, as soon as I get off of the TVs today, I have to go show a house in the valley. Matter of fact, I'm getting up on the highway and headed for, I think, Ansonia. I have to show a house in the valley. And so that's what's happening. You know, things moving at rapid speed. You have to have an agent that can move at rapid speed with you.
I'll say the reverse also for my sellers. Remember, we want to sit down with you and see, you know, what's your reason for selling the house? Do you have somewhere to go? How often do you have your agent ask you, where are you going? Most agents want you to sell a house and they can care less what happens after. We want to know where you're going to go. Do you have somewhere to go? Do you need help with that? We can help you find an apartment. You have to have a plan, because you will realize with some of our customers, you put the house on the market Friday, we could have offers by Monday or Tuesday. We could be under contract within the week. And when things start moving, you say, oh, Mr. Scott, where do I go? Where do I put my stuff? So we sit down with you, unlike other places, I would say. We make a game plan. Because, like I said, we hold our customers by the hand, 40 years in business.
Right. You've got to have a strategy as to what it is that you plan to do. The other thing that I want to mention, is we mention it every week, is that you may know people out there that do genuinely have problems, that are trying to pay their mortgage, or a family that has a property they've had for years, and because of city water, sewer, taxes, it's in foreclosure. Or probate cases. We specialize, we do a lot of probate cases where people have properties in their family and they're losing the property because they were not aware of maybe a reverse mortgage or either taxes that are owed on the property until it's too late and the city is threatening to foreclose, or the mortgage company is threatening to foreclose. Give us a call, because we can sit down with you. We can refer you to attorneys. We are not attorneys, but someone that can fight for you.
We can refer
maybe
you to
get
those
an
experts.
Extension so you can have time to figure out what is best for you. You may
I
not
would
want to
say-
sell the house, but we give you time.
Like my father was telling another client last week, remember, when you are facing hardships and foreclosure, don't think of it kind of like, how do you say, the bank is bad or evil. They're just doing a due process. They have a system. When someone doesn't pay, you get this letter. If you don't go to that letter or that court case, things have a system of basically going through. What you want to do is make sure you go to all those court cases. Give us a call. Open those letters. The bank wants to work with you. The last thing they want is the house, because then they're responsible for maintaining the house, the grass, everything else. Give us a call. We help a lot of people through foreclosure that maintain that equity.
What about the lady that we were talking to last week? She was in foreclosure, and it was because of a situation with a condo development. The condo association was foreclosing. And she was accusing everybody of a conspiracy. They were against her. They're trying to take her. And I says, they don't want your house. They just want to get paid. I said, and the people that are sending you letters, it's not even people. It's probably a computer, and everything is computerized. If you don't pay, the letter goes out. It's just like if you got Capital One, you don't pay Capital One, a notice goes out. It's not someone sitting there saying, if your name is John Jones, let's sock it to John Jones and harass him. No. They don't even know who you are. They're in Idaho. The computer's sending you a letter, and if you don't respond, the computer sends you another letter. So it's all computerized.
Like my father said, and I say, when you buy a house, your name is on that deed. Unlike when you buy a car and finance it, the financer's name's on the title. They're going to get the car versus your name's on that deed. You can do what you have to do to tap into the equity before the foreclosure. You have a lot of options, I would say.
Right. And in that particular case, I advised the person, go to City Hall, ask for an extension, explain your situation, and let the judge decide. And then luckily, she finally broke down, went to court, and told them what her situation was, how she had lost her job, the taxes from the city were coming after her, the associate. And the judge says, okay, I'm going to give you another 6 months.
How about that?
To either decide what you want to do, maybe sell it, or come up with the money, because you have equity in the property.
6 months.
There's no sense in rushing to take it. So now that person has 6 months to decide what to do versus walking away and losing everything.
Exactly. So give us a call. If you're going through that story resonates with you, give us a call.
There's things we can do. Like I said, we're not the lawyers, but we can, in that case, I told her to go to court and sit down and talk to people that are lawyers and talk to the clerk and see what they can do to help you. I can't do that for you. You do it. And she did it, and now she's happy as can be.
We're running out of time. Just want to say, so you helped her keep the property, and if she doesn't sell, that's okay, because we know she's going to be in a tri-state family. Right. Maybe one day in the future she'll sell. No pressure sells here. Yeah,
she'll recommend other clients. I had someone the other day said, I like working with you. You're not putting any pressure on me. I said, no, I want to get you as a client. I don't want to get you and then the wave goodbye and that's the end of it. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
Exactly.
So again, maybe everybody out there, tell your friends about this program. Go to YouTube.
Father-son team, 40 years in business.
See what we can do to help you.
Yes.
One way or the other, put you in a home or either sell that house for you. Or just give you some advice.
Exactly.
There's the number. Until next week, God bless.
Amen.